One Piece chapter 1088. Did Oda kill Garp off, man? Did he have the balls to kill off Garp? Wow. I did not see that coming. I thought, like, man, he's setting the stage so there'd be like another round 2 battle, like a legit round 2 battle. Oh, man, if he killed Garp off, man, this is good, man. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. I feel like a little kid all over again right now. And I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, if he did kill off Garp right here, it kind of makes sense. Like, they're getting close at this point to finding the One Piece. And so Luffy's getting that much closer to actually accomplishing his goal of being king of the pirates. You kind of got to kill off Garp because at the end of the day, he is going to be conflicted whenever this war with the world government goes on and like his son ends up leading the battle against the world government. And you know Luffy's going to be there. So his grandson's on track to be the king of the pirates. It's one of those things where he kind of has to get taken out of the story. He kind of has to, because you don't want that man to actually see it, especially somebody who has that strong sense of justice. And when you look at the foreshadowing that happens at the beginning of the chapter, this is one of those times where I really, really enjoy reading manga, because you don't get the same experience you get in the anime. Like, it's one of those things where, like, anime, depending on how things are adapted, you could get like 1.5 to 2 chapters in an episode, sometimes even faster if there's like a lot of action. And when you look at this, and you just read it, it reads like a short story. It has a beginning where things are foreshadowed, and then it has an ending which pays off the foreshadowing that you had at the beginning of the chapter. So at the start of the chapter, and it's titled Final Lesson, you have this moment where Garp is teaching Koby and the others, and he's basically saying like, okay, so you're in a situation, you're in a scenario where you're on an island. It has all these ravenous beasts on it. You have a rowboat, and it can only have 2 people. And there's an old man and there's a baby. Who do you save? And so Koby's like, hey, I got the answer. I'm going to get off of the boat, and I'm going to ensure that both of them can survive. And when Garp hears that, he throws the marker over at Koby, hits him on the head, and says, you're an idiot. You leave behind the old man because the old man's already halfway dead. His best years are behind him. And when Garp gets scolded, you can see that that's one of those things where like Garp is thinking a little differently than your typical Navy person. Your typical Navy person might have done something like that. Garp's looking at it like, look, think about why you joined the Marines in the first place. You joined in order to protect the future of the people. A younger child, a baby, has way more years ahead of it than the old man does. You leave behind the old man and you take the child and you do everything that you have to do in order to guide that child to safety. And even though Garp is getting pounded over the head for teaching something like that, and you got Aokiji, from the looks of it, basically rubbing his head and basically like, oh my God, I can't believe you said some nonsense like that. It's one of those things where you can see that like Garp has his own moral code. At the end of the day, what he said is cruel, but it's logical. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do understand the reasoning behind it. And Garp has this line where he says, the future of the young, it is infinite. And then we transition over to, obviously, several years later, where you have more of what happened with Amazon Lily and how Koby ended up getting into the situation he was in, and how everyone's like, oh my God, Blackbeard is one of the 4 emperors of the sea. We can't engage him without direct orders from the Navy HQ. And because Koby's in sword, Koby can kind of do what he wants to do. And Koby says, like, okay, how about this? How about you take the 800 sailors that you have on board, and instead you take me as a captive? And Blackbeard is like, yo, you are very, very cocky right now. You really think that your price on itself is worth that much? But Koby ends up making the right deal. And so all those pirates that are watching by, they don't really understand, like, Koby saved 800 people prior to this. Koby is one of those young people that Garp was talking about, that you have to protect their future because you don't know what they'll ever blossom into. And so as Pizarro is slamming down this huge mountain-sized hand and he's about to take out this ship, you have Tashigi, and she's like, oh my God, we got to get out of here, abandoned ship. Make sure you protect the civilians. Garp looks over and he says, like, yo, justice is going to prevail. Don't worry about it. You boys, you going to save them. I'm going to make an opportunity for you. Koby, destroy the hand. Grus, you protect the ship from all the falling rubble when Koby protects the hand. And Helmeppo, you're going to make sure that neither of them are interfered with. Be decisive, make your snap judgment, and go save everyone. And so as they start running through, you got this moment where Grus is like, so how are you going to destroy a hand that is the size of a mountain? You got some bombs, you got some secret technique. Like, what you got, homie? Go ahead and let me know so we can start strategizing. And essentially, Koby says, I don't have anything. I'm just going to make do with what I have, and that'll be enough. And it's in that moment, as soon as I read that, I went like, okay, hold on a second. We've been hinted that Koby might have Supreme King Haki. We've been hinted that this dude might have some form of control over Haki. Are we about to see this? And sure enough, that's what we end up seeing. But before we get there, you got Helmeppo providing cover. He's shooting down those cannonballs by using the sword to cut them down. You got Aokiji saying, like, Garp, you need to go ahead and surrender. I'm telling you this out of concern. And Garp says, what do you mean? These wounds? No, these ain't wounds, boy. These are scratches. Don't you underestimate me. And before anybody can do anything, Garp just takes off flying through the air. He starts pounding everybody. He starts jumping from building to building, making his way over to Pizarro, and immediately he just crushes right into this dude's skull and smashes it clean in half. And as that happens, Koby realizes, okay, this is the signal. I'm going to live up to Garp's expectations. And so as the hand begins to start coming crashing down, you have this moment where Garp is looking into the eyes of Pizarro. Pizarro's like, I'm not done here. You've underestimated me. And the whole time, Garp just has this look on his face. He's like, he's got no idea what's coming for him. And so this leads to the flashback. And the flashback that we learn is that Helmeppo, back when they first joined the Navy, he's talking to Garp and he's telling him, like, the whole reason why you see Koby with all these bandages on his arm is because Koby tells me in private that he trains after you finish training him directly. And it's one of the things where Koby says that he doesn't have the natural fighting talent of other people. And he says that 10 times the effort of someone like you, 10 times the effort of someone else, it's not going to be enough. I got to put forward 100 times effort. I got to put forward 200 times effort. And I like that because it's, again, goes back to what we saw in the last chapter. The thing about life is that it does not matter if you have more natural talent than somebody. It does not matter if you have a better starting position than somebody. At the end of the day, if they are willing to put in the work, if they are willing to outwork you and you take for granted the advantages that you have, they will catch you 9 times out of 10. And what I like about this is that Garp hears, like, okay, Koby's been doing all this. He's been punching his fists bloody against the battleship bags. He's been training the whole time. And so when everyone's counting out Koby, you see his fist turn black because he's using Haki. He's using armament Haki. And he destroys that entire hand, that entire arm, with an attack called the Honesty Impact, which that kind of fits his Koby, like, yo, honesty, honest to a fault. And so everyone is shocked because Koby has essentially cut down a mountain-sized arm. This is up there with, like, Zoro slicing the mountain for me, man. Like, this was good. I like seeing that right there. That was a very welcome surprise. And so you see his Grus is using his glob web in order to catch the debris, in order to save the people from getting crushed by the debris. And so when everyone gets back onto the ship, you see his Tashigi is like, hey, okay, like, Garp, get back here. We got to go. And Garp gives this long speech. And the thing that he says is like, your safety is the top priority here. Keep moving forward. What happened here on this island is going to be a threat to all the major pirates out there. Keep moving forward. You are the future of the Navy. And it all goes back to what we saw in the early pages of the chapter, where Aokiji was looking uncomfortable what Garp was saying when he said you sacrifice the old man in order to protect the child. You see Garp with a smile on his face. And you see Garp as he's been impaled, likely dying at this point. And he's dying with a smile on his face. He's dying, laughing at this point. And we have the narrator telling us that the next day, the headlines read that Koby was rescued by the Marines. The Navy's young hero has been returned safe, but Vice Admiral Garp has gone missing. And it talks about how Luffy has barricaded himself inside of Egghead Island, but it's one of those things where they're not telling you the truth what happened with Garp. So that kind of leads me to believe that Garp might actually be dead. This is good, man. And that's going to bring me to my chapter question. So my chapter question to you guys, we're going to keep this one very, very simple. So in your opinion, was Garp actually right? If you're on an island, or say you're in a burning building, and you can only save a small infant, or you can only save an older person, do you save the child, or do you do what Koby said and you try and save both of them? Let me know your answer to that question down below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.